Kevin Costner risked everything for the movie of his dreams. He took out a loan on his beach house to pay for it. His bookkeeper begged him not to spend his own $38 million. He didn't pay attention. His first movie didn't do well at all, making less than he put into it. Getting the other parts done is hard for him now. Getting rid of things and moving money around. His friends say he's just winging it. Kevin Costner is having a bad dream right now. And this is what's really happening. He was born in 1955 in Linwood, California, a small town in California. His parents were not famous or wealthy. Before he became a utility worker, his dad dug holes for a living. And his mom was getting help from welfare. The family had been through a terrible thing before Kevin was born. His third brother died before he was born. Kevin and his older brother Dan were the only ones left. His family had roots in Germany, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and even the Cherokee Nation. They were strict Baptists, and life was easy, and sometimes hard. When they saw that quiet boy back then, no one would have thought he would become one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Kevin didn't have a stable life. Because of his dad's job, his family moved around a lot. He was always the new kid because he went to schools in Compton, Ventura, and Visalia, among other places. It wasn't easy to make friends. He felt shy and afraid of himself because of it. But he didn't give up. Instead, he began to think. It helped him to listen to music and read poems. He sang in the church choir and wrote songs in private, but he never showed them to anyone. Something else stood out more than school. He saw the movie How the West Was Won when he was 7 years old. It hurt him a lot. The wildness of the wide-open prairie stuck with him. In that movie, he saw a seed that grew into the stories he would one day bring to life on screen. Kevin was worried about something very different at first. At the end of high school, he was only 5 feet 2 inches tall. It made him feel small and scared. His mother told him, "I swear you are going to grow, honey," when he asked her if he would ever grow up. She was right. He grew 11 inches and reached 6 feet 1 inch over the next few years. We call that catch-up growth, and it doesn't happen very often. He was tough before he shot up, though. He was good enough against bigger kids in basketball, football, and baseball when he was in high school. He played baseball with Dennis Burt, who even made it to the major leagues. Kevin never became a sports star, but he always had that power and fight in him. Kevin did something risky right after leaving high school in 1973. Because he was so interested in the Lewis and Clark journey, he chose to follow their path. He put together the boat by hand. It wasn't pretty, but it did the job. He put it on an old, broken-down truck and drove off by himself. While reading Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee Under the Stars, he went down rivers and camped in the woods. He was broken by that book. It told the terrible truth about what Native Americans went through, and it changed him. He cried every night while reading it. It wasn't just history on that trip. He saw the world differently after that. It changed the way he told stories after that, especially in movies like Dances with Wolves. He became very interested in the past and in giving people who had been silent a voice after that summer. After a few years, something happened that most people would only believe if it were in a movie plot. Kevin was married for the first time in 1978. And his new wife were on their way back from Mexico. There was none other than Richard Burton, one of the best actors of all time, on same trip. Even though Burton had taken all the seats around him, Kevin still went over, waited quietly, and asked if he could talk for a minute. Bruce woke up to hear something from Kevin that he hadn't even told his wife. He was interested in acting but didn't want a crazy life. Burton told him, "Your eyes are green." "My eyes are green. I believe you will be okay." Kevin remembered that short, strange moment. Burton's car pulled up next to Kevin and his wife, who were waiting for a cheap bus, as their plane touched down. Burton told him good luck as he rolled down the window. That was it. Everything changed in that one moment. Kevin quit his ad job after only 1 month. He started going to acting classes every night and doing strange jobs like driving trucks, working on fishing boats, and even giving bus tours of famous people's homes to make money. He wasn't well known, but something had sparked in him. He didn't have any money, no one to talk to, and no clear way to go. But he had something more important than everything else. He had faith. Kevin Costner did not start out with big paychecks and walks on red carpets. His first movie was one he later wished never existed. He took a part in a cheap movie called Sizzle Beach, USA in the late 1970s, when he was broke and ready to give up. It wasn't out until 1981, and Costner already felt bad about it by then. There were some soft parts in the movie, and Costner felt something inside him break while shooting one of the sad scenes. It didn't matter how long he had to wait for real work, he would never do something like that again. It cost something to make that choice. He barely worked for almost 6 years, getting by with odd jobs and small gigs. In the end, he tried to buy the movie's rights so that no one would ever see it. But the seller said no and put it out again. He used his name to sell tickets after he became famous. He got some parts, but they didn't change his life. He played a man who had killed himself in The Big Chill. The others got back together because his character died. All the flashback scenes, which were sad and powerful, were filmed by him. Then the director cut it all out, every scene. The shot of his dead body at the beginning was the only part that was left. Just a face. Not any lines. Not a credit. It was meant to be his big break. He was surprised when another door slammed shut in his face. So he kept working hard. A small part in Francis. A face that you might forget in an Apple Lisa ad. A few more short movies that no one saw. In a way, he was working, but he wasn't moving. The people in charge of casting forgot his name. He felt not seen. He said it was like every day he was the new kid at school. Because his family moved around a lot when he was young, he felt lonely in Hollywood as well. He kept going anyway. He had a dream. He held out. The phone then went off. The person was Lawrence Kasdan. He felt bad about cutting him out of The Big Chill. He thought about how great Costner had been, even though no one else saw it. He gave him a real second chance. He told him he could play a part in Silverado. It wasn't just any part, Costner wanted to finally show what he could do. It worked. Costner was funny, charming, and full of life. Some people noticed. They thought of him for the first time. That movie made things possible. In 1987, one of those exits led to The Untouchables. A lot of money was spent, big people were in it, and Costner got the lead role. He wasn't even close to being the studio's first pick. Harrison Ford didn't live. Mel Gibson and Jack Nicholson did the same thing. But Costner was backed by Steven Spielberg, who had worked with him before. It was clear to him that this person was going somewhere. He was right, too. Costner was in movies with Robert De Niro and Sean Connery, and he did well. It made more than $100 million. Suddenly, Costner wasn't having a hard time as a performer. He had fame, but he didn't stop to enjoy it. Bull Durham was his next move, but he didn't just want to act. He did not want it to be fake. Before the movie was made, he made the director watch him play baseball. He showed up. He hit the ball from both sides of the plate. He threw. He ran away. He showed that he could do it. He then took the film with him. They didn't think a baseball movie would do well at the box office. That was wrong, and Costner helped show it. People loved the movie, and it made over $50 million. He made Field of Dreams the next year. A strange and quiet movie about a farmer who hears voices in a cornfield. He will come if you build it. That line became well known in the United States. It made almost $85 million. It was nominated for an Oscar. It's still used today. It helped them remember good times, not just make money. Costner wanted to do more than act by 1990. He set up TIG Productions to make movies that he thought were good. Dances with Wolves was the first one. They said it was too long, risky, and strange. They told him to cut out the parts where Native Americans spoke. No, he said. They told him to spend less. No, he said. He put very large amounts of his own money into it. It might have made him bad. It made more than $400 million and won 7 Oscars instead. He didn't stop. He worked with Whitney Houston to make The Bodyguard. One more risk, and another win. More than $400 million at the box office, and the album sold more copies than any other movie soundtrack ever. After many years, he did it again, even though no one else believed in a project called Horizon. He took out a loan on his dream home to pay for it. The risk, the heart, and the reason are all the same. That's because Kevin Costner doesn't wait to tell a story. He only builds it. Kevin Costner did more than just play. He put everything on the line. He learned Lakota Sioux for 9 months for Dances with Wolves. He didn't just add. A few words here and there. He worked with Native American experts and made sure that almost a third of the movie was in proper Lakota. Studios were scared by that brave move. 2 of them turned down the movie, but Orion Pictures did. A 60-year-old Lakota teacher named Doris Leadercharge was hired by Costner to translate the script and coach the whole group for 6 months. That half year, she said, she made more money than any other time she taught on the Rosebud tribe. Even so, some people in the country where the movie was shot laughed when they saw it. Russell Means, an activist for the Oglala Lakota people, said that many of the male roles, including Costner, spoke the feminine form of Lakota. Still, this was one of the first times that an indigenous language got that much screen time in a Hollywood movie, and people took notice. It was a big deal when Dances with Wolves won an Oscar in 1991. On March 25, in front of almost 43 million people, it won 7 of the 12 Academy Awards it was nominated for. Costner won Best Director for his first movie, making him only the 5th person in history to do so. He was also nominated for Best Actor. Many reviewers still don't agree on whether that was fair because the movie beat Scorsese's Goodfellas. But it was clear that the Academy liked the big frontier drama more than the gritty mafia classic. Costner said he hadn't trusted himself as he stood on stage with his Oscar. But the outcome could not be argued with. In 60 years, Dances with Wolves was the first Western to win Best Picture. Costner didn't pick up speed. The next book he read was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, just a few days after that one. He didn't have much time to rest. He didn't use stunt doubles because the time limit was so short. He did most of the motion himself. He climbed castle walls and jumped over moats, but it hurt his shoulder. He did a crazy stunt where he used a catapult to send himself over a 10-meter-high wall. To do that, they had to figure out the math right down to the kilogram, which meant they had to use about 5,000 kilograms of force. A stuntman in France offered to go look for magic mushrooms between takes one day. Costner laughed it off, since there was a sword fight coming up soon. "Hey Nick, did you eat mushrooms? It's going to be an hour before we swing swords," he said. At the same time, loud planes from Heathrow Airport kept flying over, messing up takes and making them do the tiring castle climbs over and over again. Then JFK came along. It wasn't just another part. It was a fight. Costner played Jim Garrison, the DA of New Orleans who thought that Kennedy's death was part of a plot. Oliver Stone, the director, didn't hold back. The movie made it seem like the military, the CIA, the FBI, and even the vice president might have been involved. A lot of people were upset about it months before it came out. It was deemed dangerous by journalists, scholars, and government officials. He didn't back down, though. He told Time magazine that it felt good to even ask these questions. He said that any talk about what might be true could only make us freer. His act wasn't meant to show that Garrison was wrong. It was to get people to pay attention to him. It worked. The US government passed a rule in 1992 to make secret JFK assassination files public after the movie came out in December 1991. One of Costner's best moves may have been with The Bodyguard in 1992. He could have taken the $10 million right away. Instead, he bet on the movie's success and asked for a cut of the money it made. He also waited a whole year for Whitney Houston to have time to work on the part because he was sure she was great for it. He was right, too. It came out on November 25, 1992, the same day as Disney's Aladdin. In its first weekend, it made $16.6 million. It made $410.9 million around the world. It was Warner Brothers' biggest hit in Japan, where it made over $21 million. More than $20 million, maybe even $30 million, was paid to Costner from the movie's music and ticket sales. Houston's famous version of I Will Always Love You was on the soundtrack, which sold more than 50 million copies. The Grammys gave it Album of the Year. It had paid off twice for Costner's bet. Twice, once in money and once in a will. Kevin Costner used to be a big star in Hollywood, but things began to go wrong for him in 1994. It started with Waterworld, which was supposed to be his big hit. Instead, it changed into a bad dream. In the middle of shooting, a hurricane hit the Hawaiian set. It didn't just rain, it destroyed a $5 million floating set. Even better, that wasn't the pricey one. The main set, which was called the Atoll, was over a quarter-mile long and over 1,000 tons heavy. It cost $22 million. Hawaii ran out of steel, so they had to bring it in from California. A lot of people almost drowned. His co-stars were thrown off a boat. He almost died while being tied to a mast. The person in charge of the stunts got compression sickness and had to be flown to the hospital. The budget blew up. First, it was $65 million. Then it went up to $100 million, then $135 million, and finally $175 million. It turned into a $235 million risk when $60 million was spent on marketing. That never happened in 1995. Freedom Day only had a $75 million price tag. It was soon known as Fish Tar and Kevin's Gate. In the end, home video made money for it, but the damage was already done. Rather than being a movie star, he was now a joke. After that, there was trouble with the director. Once his partner and friend from Robin Hood, Kevin Reynolds, quit after 133 bad days. He left with a harsh quote, "Kevin should take care of himself." In fact, Costner did that very thing. He got the movie done by himself. It was also the end of his 16-year marriage. Some said his pain from home showed in the way he behaved on set. It was all over the papers. Even worse, news came out that Costner wanted fake hair to be added to his head to hide the fact that he was going bald. He said it wasn't true and that he had never worked while drunk or high. But the story stuck around. He was made fun of by others. They said he was haughty. They said he was hard to deal with. It made people call him a diva, which he couldn't get rid of. He tried again with The Postman after 2 years. Even more bombs went off. Razzies were given for Worst Film, Worst Actor, and Worst Director. He won every award for which he was nominated. That never took place before. Not only were reviewers tired of him by 1998, they wished he would leave. He didn't give up, though. He came back with Open Range in 2003. An old-school western with heart, no blasts or tricks. He also helped direct it and acted in it with Robert Duvall. It made more than $68 million around the world and cost $26 million. He put his money on himself. It worked this time. Then he shocked everyone in 2007. His role in Mr. Brooks was that of a serial killer. Not a cowboy, not a hero, but a killer with a beautiful smile. It was dim. It made me feel bad. He did the best thing he ever did. He scared you by making you think he was a nice guy. It worked. He was getting Emmys by 2012. Hatfield's and McCoy's was rough, brutal, and true to life. Price almost didn't take the part. 3 times, he said no. It was magic when he did it, though. The first show was seen by more than 14 million people. He won the award for Best Actor and showed Hollywood why they loved him in the first place. He kept going. He was in terrible pain from kidney stones in 2016 while shooting Hidden Figures. He got through it with drugs. He never missed a day. Not a single one. Though it hurt so much that his arms were bruised, he just took off his shirt and kept shooting. After that came Yellowstone. Costner was wanted to play John Dutton by Taylor Sheridan in 2017. It wasn't clear to Costner. He only agreed to do 1 season. With restrictions, but after it ran in 2018, the show slowly became a huge hit. The show wasn't very exciting. People really liked it, but it didn't win any big awards. He made $500,000 per show in the first season. That's a huge paycheck all by itself. But as the show became more and more popular, so did his pay. He was making $1.3 million per show by season 5. At that rate, 14 shows made him $18.2 million in a season. That wasn't enough for him. He was said to have asked for $1.5 million per show in 2023. At the same time, he was deep into Horizon, an American tale that was his dream project. The people who run the show didn't like this. Filming times didn't work out. Shoots that used to last 8 weeks now last 12 weeks. Horizon was supposed to be shot during Yellowstone's off weeks, but those weeks kept getting moved around. Things went wrong in early 2023 when the producers gave him a deal for season 5A and 5B instead of full seasons. Costner said no. In front of him was Horizon. That choice. John Dutton was killed, and not in a good way. The launch in the middle of the season in November 2024 shocked fans. A note was found next to Dutton's body in the bathroom. At first, it looked like a suicide, but after 2 shows, we found out the truth. 3 hitmen sent by Sarah Atwood killed him by suffocating him. The suicide was fake, a fake note was left, and they tried to erase everything. It didn't work, though. Case saw the problems with the information. A murder investigation began. Then Sarah Atwood was killed by a gun. She was shot twice in the head and chest while she was with Jamie. It wasn't until the next day that Costner found out his last episode had run. In an interview the next morning, he said it. He said, "I heard it was a suicide. I'm not interested in seeing it." Once been asked to write two ends for Dutton. They were both not used. It was the show's choice, and Costner just shrugged it off in public. Costner made more than $24 million in the last season, even though other actors were making $200,000 an episode. A high number of people watched the show, even without him. 16.4 million people watched the first episode of 5B. That was more than the 15.9 million people who watched the 5A opening the year before. From just 2.8 million in the first season, it all began. Costner had swapped roles and moved on. It was more than just a movie. It was his whole life. In 1988, he began writing it. He just couldn't do it. After Open Range came out in 2003, he tried to sell it to Disney but was turned down because of a $5 million price disagreement. It sat there empty for decades. After all that, he finally got help in 2022, but it didn't come for free. His 10-acre beachfront home in Santa Barbara, which he called his last house, was put up as collateral. He told his bookkeeper that he was putting $38 million of his own money into Horizon. The bookkeeper went crazy. It didn't bother Costner. He said, "It's my life. I think it's true." The first two parts cost more than $100 million to make. He paid for more than a third of it himself. If Horizon Chapter 1 had opened at Cannes on May 19, 2024, it would have been his big return to directing after Dances with Wolves. The reviewers were split, though. Different people liked it or not. It didn't do well at the box office. The movie only made $38.7 million around the world. That was less than what Costner had put in himself, but he kept going. 2 made its debut in Venice. The movieing for Chapter 3 began in May 2024. Chapter 4 is already being written. This is not a small job. More than 170 acting parts in 4 movies. In the first chapter alone, there were names like Luke Wilson, Sienna Miller, and Sam Worthington. Price was all in. He wouldn't stop, even though the money was running out. His movies didn't do well at the box office, and his personal life was just as crazy. He split up with Cindy Silva after their first marriage in 1994. He lost $80 million in the split. They didn't have a prenup before they got married and had 3 kids. He said it was one of the worst times of his life later on. But by 2025, it was said that they were friends again. She even helped him get divorced again. That was sent in by Christine Baumgartner. They were married for 18 years. On May 1, 2023, she filed. It was a surprise. This time, he had signed a prenup. But the fight was very rough. She had to leave his houses. He was supporting her with $63,209 a month. Early in 2025, she got engaged to Josh Connor, who used to be his friend. There were rumors that Costner was going to redo the deal after she got married again. They also said that Yellowstone was dangerous. As soon as the split was announced, crazy rumors began to spread. One person said that he made a crew member pregnant on set. Someone else said he wasn't filming. His team thought it was all crazy. Still, the reports didn't go away. It looked like the timing was meant to hurt him. Costner started dating again in early 2025, but this time he wouldn't date any Hollywood women. People who knew him said he wanted a normal person. His friends tried to set him up. He seemed like a man in his 20s. He didn't want anything important. Not yet. He had been through everything Hollywood had to offer. Then there was fame, marriage, scandal, divorce, and now freedom. Kevin Costner is 70 years old, but he's not slowing down. He's getting faster. The Western, his new docuseries with Kevin Costner, will air for the first time on the History Channel on May 26, 2025. There's more than one show. It's a special 2-episode show that starts an 8-part series. The next night, there's another episode, and then the show moves to its normal Monday time spot. This series is not the same. It isn't about cowboys with white teeth riding off into the sunset. For it's about land, war, and the honest truth about how the West was really won. Or stolen. Costner worked with scholar Doris Kearns Goodwin, who won the Pulitzer Prize. He doesn't just host, he has big people and a big story. He is creating it with people who have won Oscars. This is not a job for your golden years. We have a job here. That's not all he's doing, though. Still, Costner is working hard to finish his Horizon film series, which has 4 parts. That was a bad first chapter. The movie cost $100 million to make but only made $38.7 million. It did not do well at the box office. Warner Brothers was scared, so they pushed back the release of Chapter 2. Costner did not give up, though. He said the climb got harder at the Venice Film Festival. He said that The Rock took a backwards fall. I need to get my hands on it again, though. That Rock? This is part 3. He's already spent $38 million of his own money. And now he's looking for more to finish. He wants to make more than one movie. Maybe he can finish chapters 3 and 4 together in 2025. Even though the chances are against him, that only makes him more determined. He said, "When I feel rejected, my desire grows." It took more than just writing plots and yelling action for all of this to happen. He made a real thing. In February 2024, he told everyone about a huge $100 million movie studio that would be built on 500 acres in Utah. The name of it is Territory Film Studios. Near St. George Airport, roads, water lines, and power lines are all being built. A 39,000 square foot building is part of the first phase, which is already being used to film Horizon. Part 3. A 20,000 square foot soundstage and office area will be added in Phase 2, which is coming soon. Some people even want to open a restaurant with a Kevin Costner theme. The building could have 30 full-time jobs when it's finished, and it could get even bigger if studios start renting room. It's not just one show. There is a lot of danger in Costner's plan to leave a legacy. His money got worse after Horizon. Chapter 1 didn't do well. Only $11 million was made in the first weekend. In no way does that meet the needs. It is said that he backed the movie by putting up as collateral his own land in California, which includes a 10-acre ranch in Santa Barbara. Some say he didn't listen to what his accountant told him. Some people say he doesn't have much time left. By the end of 2024, those who knew him well were scared. He was moving money around and selling things to keep the dream alive. One person who knows him said that he's going by wing and a prayer. He could lose even more if things don't get better.